There are fewer things in baseball more exciting than watching a triple play. They range from the routine 5-4-3 to the 4-6-5-6-5-3-4 triple play, which the boys in the Bronx turned back in 2013. But there's a new contender on the books. 3 of our favorite things are all coming together. National Hot Dog Month, Ballpark Buns, and the Baseball Hall of Fame. Ballpark Buns, America's favorite bun, is celebrating National Hot Dog Month with the Fame On sweepstakes. The lucky winner will get a VIP experience at the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York, plus $3,000 for travel. The VIP experience includes behind-the-scenes and after-hours access to an amazing institution that keeps baseball legends alive. And don't forget to keep your summer rolling with Ballpark. Perfect for grilling, tailgating, parties, and more. Ballpark hot dog and hamburger buns deliver fresh taste and outstanding flavor. With 5 varieties of buns and rolls, make Ballpark Buns part of your next meal and watch the crowd go wild. To enter the Fame On sweepstakes, go to ballparkbuns.com/fameon.
Home isn't just a place. It's a feeling that you're safe to enjoy the things that matter most. ADT lets you take that feeling with you. Whether you're at home, your business, or online, we help keep you safe. With security systems, home automation, alarms, and surveillance. So you can feel at home wherever you are. Go to ADT.com to get that feeling for less than $1 a day. ADT. Home. Safe home.
Yesterday here on Mike and Mike, we said that we would be disappointed if we did not see Stanton versus Judge for all the marbles in the Home Run Derby. Stanton didn't get out of the first round.
Nope.
Aaron Judge made up for Stanton not getting out of the first round. With Mike Golick, I'm Ian Fitzsimmons here on Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio, ESPN2. Thank you for spending part of your morning with us. And Golick, it is that was. Did I already screw up?
No. It's standing. No, you're good.
That was one of those moments last night when we all wanted Stanton versus Judge.
Yeah, we did.
Didn't get it, and it was still one of those nights where you're going to remember for a long, long time.
Oh, it really is. And it really started, quite honestly, with what Stanton almost did. And you thought, oh, God, here's the disappointment right off the bat. Gary Sanchez, who's, hit 1 million home runs last year in 3 games, and is in this contest not having as many home runs. So you get guys like Logan Morrison complaining, why he's not in the Home Run Derby and Sanchez is. Gary Sanchez sits 17 home runs. And in watching Stanton, you're thinking, okay, hometown guy, wins it last year in Petco, 61 home runs, a record. And with about a little over, I think it was about 2:06 left again. It was a 4-minute clock. Stanton is down, Sanchez at 17 home runs. Stanton had like 4. And you're thinking, oh, my God. Then he went on a tear that was about as entertaining as could be before we even got to Judge. And got it close, and he ended up losing 17-16. So you're like, oh, no, you got to be kidding me. But I thought it was fantastic. Judge, obviously, we're going to talk a lot about. He almost didn't get out of the first round. Justin Bour from the Marlins, he became my personal favorite, and I'll tell you why. I was absolutely – everybody wanted to see Aaron Judge win. I was the only one, and the Marlin fans as well, that wanted to see Justin Bour win, and we'll get into that. But I thought it was – listen, what's it supposed to be? Entertaining. Was that entertaining?
You not?
As Russell Crowe was saying, Gladdy, are you not entertained? If you weren't entertained last night, then the Home Run Derby will never entertain you. Because the bombs that were being hit, and not just by Judge, who hit 4 of them over 500 feet, but by Stanton, by Bour. Charlie Blackmon, while he didn't hit long home runs, his swing was awesome. He lost in the first round. He had 14 home runs, but he had some nice shots. I mean, these guys were fun to watch, and the guy who got in the finals, the surprise guy, Miguel Sano, he did a great job getting to the finals. And then the size of these guys, I'm going to try and you tell me who the biggest is, which would be easy, but who the smallest of these guys is as well, because, man, it was almost like a football team out there instead of a baseball team. It was impressive.
We are presented by Progressive Insurance. All guests like Mark Teixeira, Joe Buck will join us coming up in the final hour of the program, live from Miami for the All-Star festivities. They'll be here via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Let's go ahead and get this thing started, Golick, with
Off the Top.
Let's start right there. Aaron Judge launches 47 home runs last night to become the first rookie to win the Home Run Derby outright. Now, Stanton hit 61 last year, as you just mentioned.
Right.
But Judge hit not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 over 500 500 feet.
The longest being 513 feet. And watching the ball go off the bat on this guy, and watching the amount, I'd like to know the breakdown, maybe Hembo somewhere, of opposite field home runs that were hit. It would look like he mishit a ball, and it was over the fence.
They had one.
It was ridiculous.
In his first round against Bohr, and we'll touch on your new hero.
Oh, yeah.
Justin Bohr in a moment, which was a classic moment last night. What Giancarlo Stanton, his Marlins teammate, fed him to get him going after his timeout. But he hit one where he got jammed, and he hit it 450 feet. And the sound of Carl Ravitch last night where he went, did he get jammed and just hit that 450? Yes.
It was ridiculous. Ridiculous what he did. He's the third player to lead the majors in homers at the All-Star break and win the Home Run Derby. He joins Mark McGwire and Ken Griffey Jr. there. Judge 30 homers, are fourth most in a season at the time of winning the Derby. So it was his world. We were all just living in it. He was as advertised. Again, everybody wanted to see Stanton and Judge in the finals, but give it up for Gary Sanchez, who knocked Stanton out in the first round, and then Sanchez just absolutely ran out of gas after that. You could see, you wonder if there's going to be another tweak to this, because the first round is by far the best round to watch, because that's where you see by far the most home runs, and they really start to tail off in the second round and then in the finals.
So Justin Bohr comes up after Stanton is eliminated, obviously the hometown hero, and Giancarlo Stanton, and the only other Marlin in the event is Justin Bohr, and he comes up and is just raking, calls his timeout. Stanton is on the set with our guys on ESPN, drops his headphones, runs over to Bohr and does what?
Fed him a donut. I mean, right there, Justin Bohr's my guy. He now became my favorite.
I immediately thought of you.
By the way, Justin Bohr is 6'4", 279 pounds. He could be a three technique on the D line or a D end in a 4-man line. The dude's a big dude, gets a donut and washes it down with some Gatorade, and then proceeds to go for 22 home runs. I know I was thinking at that point, my guy Judge and Stanton are going to be out in the first round. And then Judge gets his extra time, and he ends up beating Bohr with his extra time, 23-22, and the rest, they say, is history.
And so Stanton comes back over after feeding Bohr the donut, and Ravi asks him, what did you just give him? And just matter-of-factly, I mean, it's just very, I gave him a donut.
Yeah.
What do you think I gave him?
Feeding the zoo animals.
It's like spinach.
Give him what he needs. Give him that sugar burst.
And I was right there with you. I really thought after 22, and he's getting the crowd into it.
Oh, yeah.
The crowd's going nuts, and he fed off of it.
They did. And then when Judge came up, he was getting booed by the hometown crowd, which he should have. That's fine.
Oh, absolutely. And I thought there was zero chance he could hit 23. Zero.
Me too. I thought he was done. I thought him and Stanton were done, but he did. And
that's what made it absolutely majestic last night. Just an outstanding event, and it had everything, including, yes, a donut.
Off the top.
The 88th All-Star Game takes place tonight at Marlins Park. Max Scherzer gets the start for the NL against Chris Sale of the American League. And I know we'll touch on this in a bit with Bryce Harper's idea, which is very interesting. He wants to draft the All-Star Game. We'll touch on that in a moment. But how long do you go with your starters? 2 innings tops?
Oh, tops. Absolutely tops. There's no need to go anywhere. There's nothing on this game, which there should be. Should be nothing on this game. You go back, remember, from 2003 to 2016, the winner of this game, the winning league, was a home field in the World Series, which was one of the dumbest things ever. So they finally stopped that. But Scherzer, he joins Roy Halladay, Roger Clemens, Randy Johnson, Vita Blue, the only pitchers to start for the AL and the NL, and Chris Sale is the first pitcher ever to start the All-Star Game in consecutive season representing 2 different teams, and the first AL pitcher to start consecutive All-Star Games, period, since Dave Steve did it in 83 and 84. So these 2 guys, the 2 starters, have combined for 351 strikeouts, the most ever entering the All-Star Game by the game's starting pitcher. So you got a couple of good ones.
That's just stupid.
Yeah, it is.
That's ridiculous.
Off the top.
Well, we mentioned it yesterday. There are 3 guys that we would have liked to have seen in any form or fashion: Andy Murray, Rafael Nadal, and Roger Federer in the finals for Wimbledon. One of those guys is now gone.
It's amazing, too, the stamina of these guys. This match went 4 hours and 48 minutes. Gilles, am I getting that right?
Gilles.
Gilles Mueller.
That dude.
Beat Nadal. Now, Mueller won the first two sets, 6-3, 6-4, lost the next two, and then won the fifth set 15-13. 4 hours, 48 minutes. What a match. What a match it was, as Federer was winning in straight sets. Nadal is not out. So you have Federer and you have Murray left in this one. You have 37-year-old Venus Williams, who is playing a young lady who was born 11 days 11 days after Venus Williams made her debut in the 1997 French Open. Who she's playing was born 11 days after that.
This young lady, Miss Ostapenko, yes, is playing 37-year-old Venus Williams, and you heard Golick correctly. She was not born when Venus Williams made her major debut at the French Open back in 1997.
Just amazing.
Still surviving and advancing at Wimbledon.
It's impressive.
Oh, it's beyond impressive. And I tell you what, he showed the heart of a champion, being down like that and coming back. But, again, we wanted Stanton Judge. We wanted Nadal or Federer or Murray. Now we're down to?
Down to two.
Off the top.
Floyd Mayweather Jr., Conor McGregor, they will commence their four-city tour promoting their August 26th boxing match. It begins at Staples Center today in L.A. Mayweather is currently a minus 750 favorite, which means for every $100 you wager, for every $750 you wager, you get $100.
Yeah, I never
back.
understood the plus-minus thing. I know you were the bookie in college and know all that.
Being a bartender and a bookie is a bad way to go through college.
I don't understand all that stuff, but I know he's a heavy favorite. So
if you want to win $100, you got to wager $750.
Yeah, that's crazy. So you got to put down a whole lot of money to make a little bit of money. So starts out in L.A., goes to Toronto, New York, and London, and they price the fight. Now, here's an interesting thing for me. It's $99.95 in HD. If you want to see it in standard, you only have to pay $89.95. Who only has a standard def TV anymore? Is that even possible?
I guess some people do. In a trailer.
And if you have a choice, why would you not? Who would pay $89.95 to see it in standard if you just could pay $10 more to see it in high def? I don't understand that at all. That's a new one for me, but it's.
I'm right there.
I said it'd be $100. It's $99.95. Going to be $100. I'm buying it, and I know a lot of other people are.
This is a social event, and I know we'll touch more in depth on this one also. But take Mayweather Pacquiao for instance. It's after the Kentucky Derby.
Yep.
You knew when you bought it what you were getting. You were not going to get a very entertaining boxing match. Mayweather was not going to fight. He was going to defend. He was going to point him to the point to winning on the card.
Right.
But wives wanted to all get together after the Derby. Yeah. You know, it was great sporting day, third day of the NFL draft. I think you had Game 7 of Spurs, maybe Clips at the time. Can't remember who it was. But it was a lot going on that night, and it was a social event. This, I am not expecting any kind of a great match.
No.
But it is a social event, and so all the neighbors will all get together. We'll go to one person's house, and you plunk it down, everyone chips in, and it's more of a social outing
than
I agree. Watching a sporting event.
I agree. I don't want to hear the people, you guys are idiots who are plunking down the money. It's my money. I can plunk it down. You don't have to call me an idiot for doing it. But go ahead if you want. I've been called an idiot for a lot worse.
I'm right there with you.
I'm buying it.
And that's
Off the Top.
Right here on Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio, ESPN2. More on Aaron Judge and what we saw last night. How about this tidbit from Darren Ravel, Golick? He and Cody Bellinger, outstanding rookie from the Dodgers, they combined will make just over $1 million this year. Bobby Bonilla will make more money. I just got to check again from the Mets for $1.1 million. Bobby Bonilla will make more money this year than Aaron Judge and Cody Bellinger combined for the Yankees and the Dodgers. But what's fantastic right now is that you have all of these young stars that need to be marketed more aggressively by Major League Baseball. I think they do a horrendous job of marketing their young stars. And you have so many right now, starting with Aaron Judge, playing for the New York Yankees, and his name is Aaron Judge.
Right.
The things you can do with this young man who, it looks more like a defensive end for the New York Giants and the New York Yankees. They need to do a better job. And last night, if that wasn't a wake-up call to MLB to say, man, we really have to push these young phenoms out there, starting with Judge, then nothing's going to wake these guys up.
Yeah, that's been the thought process of baseball and the regionalization of it, and the money they make in the regional markets. But nationally, we always say, who's the face of the game? Is it Bryce Harper? Is it Mike Trout? Is it Clayton Kershaw? Who is it? And who do we recognize? And do we see these guys out there enough? You would think a lot of these guys have shoe deals. You'd see them in more shoe commercials. You see the football or you see the basketball guys in shoe commercials all the time. Would that help? Would it behoove the shoe companies to get those guys in more commercials to get them out there as well? And you would think it would help the product as well. But you just don't see enough of the marketing. And it right now in a vacuum, I don't know how it can't be Aaron Judge. He's lived up to about everything you could possibly do. Hitting home runs, playing the field. I mean, it's really impressive what he has done. And last night you wanted to show and you got to show. I mean, that's what he gave you. It was a great show last night. I thought it was excellent. The one, there's always going to be criticisms because nothing's ever perfect. But a lot of people are going to point to the fact that Justin Bour had the second most home runs in the first round and he was out because they do the first round head-to-head instead of all 8 hitting and taking the top 4 and moving on and maybe making it head-to-head from that point on, and maybe that's something they would do. It's head-to-head from the beginning. So Justin Bour, who was – and again, he was hitting rockets and moonshots as well. He was so entertaining in front of the hometown crew, putting up 22, and I thought he was going to beat Judge. But then Judge coming out and doing what he did, that was the best head-to-head and the most, obviously, home runs head-to-head all night, and that's probably the one shame of it you could say is, but all the first-round matches, you had Stanton losing by 1 to Sanchez. You had Moustakas losing by 1 to Miguel Sano, who ends up in the finals.
Who hit 22 combined in 2 rounds.
In the first 2 rounds. You had Judge winning by 1. You had Cody Bellinger winning by 1 over Charlie Blackmon. So you had close. So that's, again, I guess on the other side for it is it was competitive. It was going down to the bonus time. Guys needing those bonus home runs to get the win to make it somewhat competitive in the first round. And you wouldn't have had that if you just went 8 batters, top 4, move on, and then go head-to-head from there. So I don't know. I guess that's what we do, though. We pick it apart at times, but I don't want to. I want to sit back and say, you know what? I was thoroughly entertained by that thing because not only did you see a lot of home runs, and like I said, even Charlie Blackmon didn't knock the cover off the ball, but man, what a sweet swing that he had.
A sweet mullet.
He did. He had he won the hair of the day, no doubt about that. He didn't get any at 440. You needed 2 at 440 to get the extra 30 seconds. He didn't have any there, but I love the way he swung and swung the bat, and it was just a lot of fun to watch. And these guys, they're monsters. So I'll ask you, who do you think the smallest competitor was in this?
Charlie Blackmon.
But you would be wrong. Charlie Blackmon, and I'm going by their listed heights and weights on their roster. He's listed at 6'3", 215. 6'3", 215 is a nice sized kid.
It's a good DB.
And he was not the smallest competitor there. There were actually by weight 2 that weighed less.
Bellinger
6'4", 210. So he was 5 pounds less. And then Moustakas was 6 foot 211. Those were your smallest guys. Then you had Sanchez, 6'2", 230. Sanyo was 6'4", 262. Or Sano, I'm sorry, was 6'4", 262. Stanton, 6'6", 249. Bour, 6'4", 279. And Judge, 6'7", 282. I mean, it's ridiculous. The 4 of these guys that I said could be on a D-line. I mean, it was just amazing how big these guys are and how pretty they are swinging the bat. I mean, it was so entertaining.
Oh, it was remarkable last night, and I wouldn't change the format. Leave it as it is.
Yeah,
because
I can't complain. I heard people that was their complaint that Bour hits 22, the second most in round 1, and he's out. Why wouldn't you want to see that guy, swinging more? Or as we mentioned, Sano had 22 in the first 2 rounds combined. Judge and Bour beat that in round 1. But you know what? I don't want to complain about it. I was thoroughly entertained by it, so I thought it was great.
And Aaron Judge and the Derby were in the zone, brought to you by AutoZone. Drive the new Duralast GT brake pads, proven tough from the tracks to the streets, and sold only at AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. To your point about the size of these guys,
yeah.
Tim Kirkson's not a big dude.
No, he's not.
He's Muggsy Bogues type point guard small. But he was beyond impressed with what he saw, not just with the moonshots, but just the appearance, the size of the guys last night and Judge's performance. Here's Tim Kirkjian.
Well, to me, what made it different was the sheer size of the people in this. Giancarlo Stanton was the third biggest guy in this competition. Miguel Sano is bigger, Aaron Judge is bigger, but this was all about Aaron Judge. As great as some other, guys were tonight, Aaron Judge hit 47 home runs and basically quit with 1:53 to go because he already won it. In the second round, he averaged 457 feet per home run. There were 4 home runs hit over 500 feet tonight, and Aaron Judge hit them all, including one 513 feet. And Bucci, about 20 times tonight, I just shook my head and wondered, how can a human being hit it that far? Well, you can hit it that far when you're 6'7", 282, and you have a great swing, and you're a great athlete. That was really amazing.
It was actually 3. Bohr is bigger than Stanton as well at 6'4", 279 if you're going by weight. And that was the thing with me with Judge is his opposite field home runs. It was incredible. Incredible going opposite field and still knocking it over the wall. Again, there are those that are going to say maybe it was a little anticlimactic. He needed only 15 swings in the finals.
To hit 11 bombs.
15 swings to get 11 home runs, and there was a $153 left on the clock of extra time for him. There are going to be those that listen. The guys just get tired. They absolutely get tired because they know they got to knock as many home runs out to keep moving on.
Some guys need a donut.
Especially, exactly right. Especially the guys that are going first. They can't. They're going to have to use the entire 4 minutes to set the mark for the next guy. So, basically the next guys only need to beat that by 1 so they can go less time, which is what exactly Judge did in the finals.
And something else happened yesterday at the All-Star game, not just these majestic shots that were hit by these gladiators last night in the Home Run Derby, but Bryce Harper was asked about the All-Star game format. We'll touch on that coming up in a little bit. He wants to draft players so that he could face his teammate in Max Scherzer, which we don't see. Interesting concept from Bryce Harper. Yes, it is. But are we trying to fix something that's not broken?
Right.
As we all agree that I think the MLB has the best All-Star game of all the big 4 sports.
Home isn't just a place. It's a feeling. Whether you're at home, your business, or online, ADT helps keep you safe with security systems, home automation, alarms, and surveillance, so you can feel at home wherever you are. Go to ADT.com to get that feeling. ADT, home, safe home.
Hey everyone, Mike Golick here. Support for the Mike and Mike podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Well, Mike Golick, I'm Ian Fitzsimmons here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2. Thank you for spending part of your morning with us, and you can always reach us on the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. He's at ESPN Golick. I'm at Ian Fitz, ESPN, or at Mike and Mike. And Travis writes in.
Well, about the Home Run Derby last night, they need to get rid of the rule where they have to wait for the ball to hit the ground. Stanton could have had many more. Now, that is a rule, in case anybody didn't know. There's an umpire behind the plate or right off to the side, and basically when the ball is hit in the air, he puts up his hand for the pitcher to not throw another ball. The ball, wherever it is, has to hit the ground before the pitcher can throw again. Stanton, they were even throwing him early with Stanton. The ball wasn't coming down, but he was hitting moonshots, so he was costing himself time. Now, everybody's got to play by those rules, but I kind of don't like the rule either. Just let him go rapid fire, man. I mean,
there was one moment last night where one barely hit, and he hit another one right after it, and they're going, did the other one count?
Yeah.
And they did count it, but
I
I'm with you.
I don't understand And well, I guess maybe the rule is you're protecting the people in the outfield if they're up there trying to catch a ball and then you rope another one. Yeah, I saw someone actually get hit in the shoulder or right in that area at one point. Maybe that's why. If it's a safety issue, then obviously I don't have an issue with it at all. But it definitely, the way Stanton was hitting the ball, the moonshots he was hitting, he had to wait a significant amount of time till that ball came down, where if you rope one, obviously you can get him off a little quicker. But just the sheer magnitude of these home runs was absolutely incredible last night.
It was a great night last night.
Yeah, it was.
And
it was.
To the timing thing, and I know I saw some complaints on Twitter, like as you did, about the matchups, how Sano only hits 22 home runs combined in the first and second round. Yet you had a guy like Justin Bohr, which one person writes in also on the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. Justin wrote in, PED, Performance Enhancing Donut.
There you go.
As Bohr was fed a donut by his teammate Stanton during his timeout, and then he just starts raking all over again. He gets eliminated, hitting 22 in the first round. I thought, and it felt this way to me, I'm in my focus group of one. I'm curious to get your thoughts on this. Because of the head-to-head matchup and competition, and it wasn't the top four that advanced, but Aaron Judge had to come up and hit 23. Yeah. Stanton had to come up and hit 17. That added to the intrigue and the drama.
I agree. That's why there's always the other side to it. You hate to see a guy that hits 22 home runs, the second most in the first round, and he's out. But on the other side of it is the drama. These guys set marks in the first round that the next guys came up and all won by, obviously you only need to win by one. Once you hit one more than them, you don't need to go on anymore. But it does add to the magnitude of it. Without a doubt, I thought Judge was going to be out. I thought there's no way he's hitting 23 home runs. And then every swing he takes, he's knocking out of the park no matter where he hits it. It was incredible. But I thought, again, it's for show. It's for entertainment. It worked. That's why going to Bryce Harper's idea, I'm not really sure I agree with it.
If it's not broken, the old adage, don't fix it. Now, off the field, this might be one of the best stories, if not the best story, of the All-Star game. When you go back to spring training, Zach Cozart from the Cincinnati Reds, he would take his son in spring training over to a zoo near their facility, and his son fell in love with donkeys.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So Joey Votto, in spring training, told him, if you make the National League All-Star game, I'm going to buy you a donkey. And lo and behold, who's in the All-Star game? Zach. What's his son getting?
A donkey.
A donkey. As Votto has confirmed that the donkey will be delivered. The question is, where do you deliver the donkey? Where do you keep the donkey?
Where you
need some land, Coach. This is not a living room animal where you train it to go outside.
It's not sleeping at the foot of your bed.
I grew up on a thoroughbred horse farm in Folsom, Louisiana. Trust me, that donkey cannot be housebroken. So I guess
at least you grew up on some kind of farm. I grew up, in Willowick, Ohio. I mean, a donkey? Are you kidding me? We wouldn't have had a donkey living in our house.
So I guess Zach has said that his mother has land in Nashville, so that's where they might end up keeping the donkey. But they're going to present him with the donkey, at the ballpark.
So the mom has land in Nashville. They're in Cincinnati. So the donkey will be in Nashville, so the kid will still go over to the zoo or wherever to see the other donkey.
But his donkey goes.
But his donkey has got to go to
Nana,
Nashville.
Whomever, grandma,
whatever grandma's called, you got to go there to see the donkey. Interesting. That's very interesting. But Votto's paid up.
Yes,
he paid up, and that's the key thing.
And I don't know if you saw this. I saw it on Intentional Talk with Kevin Millard, who was with us yesterday,
right.
Chris Rose, which you can see on ESPN2 and MLB Network, where they're trying to get Zach into the All-Star game, and Votto shows up in the donkey outfit,
right?
Which was absolutely priceless. Going, we have to get this done. Votto has paid up, which leads me to this question for you, because you and I have done some stupid things in our lives, and we've lost some really bad bets. What is the worst thing you have ever had to do in paying up a wager, as Votto has delivered on his promise to Zach delivering the donkey? What is the worst thing you have ever had to do in order to pay up?
I mean, right off the top of my head, Greeny and I did the NCAA basketball bets every year. And the worst thing I think that happened to him was the last one when he had to milk the cow and the cow pooped on him. That was awesome. That's why we stopped it, because there is no way you could top that. That became the difficult part of doing that year after year, is to try and top it. And when you get a guy as germophobic as Greeny, who lives in a vat of hand sanitizer.
It's a Purell bottle right here.
That's his. And gets pooped on. You can't beat it. That's a mic dropper. That's an I'm out, and you're done with it. For me, it was probably one of those bets that I lost, and it's probably because it's something I would never do in my life. I've never gotten a manicure. I've never gotten a pedicure, so I've never gotten my hair waxed. So I had to get my arm hair and my leg hair. Luckily, no bikini, Brazilian wax or whatever. But I had to get my arm hair and my leg hair.
I didn't need.
I know, waxed. And let me tell you, that doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good at all. I felt like, what's his name in the 40-Year-Old Virgin?
Or Hitch when
Kevin James, that was very painful. So I got my arm on during the show, my arms waxed and like that hot wax and then tape on it and then just rip it off. Oh my God, that's awful. And I got some hair on my arms and my legs, so I didn't like that one bit. So that was probably the worst bet I had to pay off.
You identify with Kevin James, Steve Carell,
right?
Yes, all of them.
Right.
Do you remember what you yelled after the first rip?
I think I might have yelled meatloaf.
I was just told by Stanzik in my ear.
Yeah,
pot roast.
Pot roast.
Top
that was
your
it.
lungs.
It was pot roast, not
top
meatloaf.
Your lungs.
I knew it was some sort of edible meat.
Worse for me. Speaking of meat, so I'm at WJOX in Birmingham, Alabama, doing the show with Lance Taylor on the round table, and we had a bracket challenge bet.
Right.
And Takeo Spikes would come on with us all the time, being an Auburn guy. You know Takeo very well.
Sure.
And Takeo every Easter, not making this up, folks. His family eats barbecued raccoon.
Barbecued raccoon.
He grew up in the woods of Georgia, and that is a delicacy. I mean,
so was this instead of turkey?
Easter.
Oh, no, this is Easter. Okay, not Thanksgiving.
Barbecued
Easter.
Raccoon.
All right. Okay.
And so somehow, I don't know how it happened, but Lance and I came up with the loser of Bracket Challenge has to eat raccoon.
Okay.
However prepared from, I can't remember the chef that did it in Birmingham. I lost. I can still taste the iron of that vermin. He prepared it like a gumbo, and it was horrendous.
Did it not taste like chicken, though? They say most things just taste like chicken.
Picture the worst thing possible.
Really?
He did everything he could to make this. I mean, like being from Louisiana, he decided he'd do it like in a gumbo style. That, along with, I lost another one. I know you're shocked.
No, it was just.
I had to wear a Snuggie for a week in late April in Alabama, and everywhere that I went.
A Snuggie?
A Snuggie. I mean, my wife sent me to the grocery store 4 or 5 times.
So she
that
played
week.
along with it. Okay.
Lance is selling, bar remotes all over town, and I had to wear the Snuggie everywhere I went. I looked like I had joined a cult. Those are the 2 worst things that I've ever had to pay up on. And Takeo, if you're listening or watching, I still hate you so much for having to eat raccoon.
Not gonna lie, I've never eaten raccoon.
You don't want to, Coach. Trust me. He loves it.
I guess a lot of it is in the way you prepare it.
If you miss one gland that I was told, they have glands like in their legs and whatnot, then it just gets really, really bad. I think my man missed a gland.
That's great.
Yep.
But that's what we want to get out of it. We want from you. We want what's the worst bet you ever had to pay off?
Tweet him in.
Yeah.
At Mike and Mike, at ESPN Radio. He's at ESPN Golick. I'm at Ian Fitz, ESPN. Remember, once again, tweet us all your thoughts to 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. Nothing makes a summer, birthday, or anniversary more magical than 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, when you order a dozen multicolored roses for only $29.99, you'll get another dozen absolutely free. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN. Golick, another thing that we have that we are going to talk about with Field Yates in a little bit is Kirk Cousins.
Right.
And how he might be able to do something that we talked about yesterday and set the bar for guaranteed money in the NFL for a quarterback and for other players. Quick thought on that. Do you think that actually happens? I know we'll touch more on this coming up with Field Yates.
No, I think if you're going to get fully guaranteed contracts, then players better be ready to sign 2- and 3-year contracts. So if Kirk Cousins wants to say, give me a 2- or 3-year deal and guarantee me, 3-year deal for $75 million, that's a possibility because that's basically what he would get anyway out of his deal. That's probably the guaranteed amount he'll get. But you're not you're not going to get the 6, 5, 6, 7-year deal for that guaranteed amount. You're not. It's not going to happen with the hard cap right now. So a lot of things would have to change to get the length of the deals they're getting right now and that huge money to all be guaranteed to go with a hard cap. So they're shorter contracts, or the system really needs to be revamped.
Okay, keep your eyes closed.
Okay.
I want to show you my first ever painting.
All right.
Okay. Open your eyes.
Oh, that's a lot of colors and shapes.
So be honest. What do you think?
Well, I like how if you switch to Geico, you could save hundreds of dollars on car insurance.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Here, why don't I hold your paintbrush while you call them?
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Well, Mike Golick, I'm Ian Fitzsimmons, ESPN Radio, ESPN2. We are brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Just tuning in, Kirk Cousins had some interesting things to say as we get back into the All-Star game coming up. Mark Teixeira will join us live from Miami coming up top of 9 Eastern. Joe Buck will be on the call for Fox. Will be here coming up 9:30 Eastern time right here on Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio, ESPN2. But if you are just tuning in, quarterback for the Washington Redskins, Kirk Cousins is set to be a franchise tagged again. He's going to make just south of $24 million. The tag deadline to get any kind of a long-term contract worked out is less than 1 week away. Le'Veon Bell's another one that's in the news.
Right, July 15th is the day.
He is set for to make just over $12 million. And you and I were talking yesterday about the guaranteed money with NBA, MLB guys, NFL guys, that they want more. And if there is going to be any type of player, anyone to break that threshold of getting your entire contract fully guaranteed in the NFL, it's going to have to be, in my opinion, a big-time quarterback. Kirk Cousins is the first guy that can actually do that. Do you believe that happens, meaning in the next few days?
No, I don't think it'll happen unless he's willing to take a 2 or 3 year contract. I say that's the only way that's going to happen. I'm always interested. There's a quote. He says, "I never want to play football thinking about money." I mean, but you do. I mean, I just think that's a ridiculous quote. When you're trying to work out a deal, you're trying to get the best deal you can money-wise. You're trying to make the most money. There's nothing wrong with that. Nobody says you're only playing for money, but you can try and get the best deal you can of money. There's nothing wrong with that. So I'm always like, it sounds like players want to make sure, hey, it's not about the money. It is. It's okay. It's all right for it to be about the money. You're doing this for a short period of time. You have the chance to have the leverage hammer and slam it and make a lot of money. Go make money. It's fine. Nobody's going to crucify you for that. I know we get into the whole how much do they take as opposed to the cap and stuff, but it's about the money or the deal would be done, right? All right, Kirk, if it really wasn't about the money, the deal would be done. You would take what they offer because it's not about the money and you'd play. It's about the money to a point. So it just is. Now, to the guaranteed contract part, listen, Andrew Luck, everybody said he could have been the one to do it. Now, he got $87 million of it guaranteed. He got a lot of it guaranteed. Derek Carr got, I think, 56% of his money of the $125 million guaranteed. Does it have to be a quarterback? Why can't it be Khalil Mack, a young guy who's got a lot of time left, who is unbelievably important to the organization and isn't going to cost you quarterback money? So maybe could it be that because the quarterbacks make the most?
And look, and remember, folks, the owners, there's nothing in the CBA that says that they can't guarantee a full contract. This is just the way it's been done since the beginning of time in the NFL. And Cousins went on to say, quote, "I hired my agent to do his job. I've got to go play football and throw touchdown passes and help our team win. I've got plenty to work on in that aspect, so I'll let my agent do his job. I'll do mine, and the good news is I'm under contract for this season and in a good place." He's going to make over the last 2 years around $40 million.
Right.
With, again, just south of $24 million this season alone. So it's not as if he's not going to get paid. The man is going to get paid. My biggest thing is, who does Washington think they're going to get that's better than Kirk Cousins?
That's always the thing, too. Who are you going to get in January? Put that back up there, Stanzik. You just took it off. I was just going. In January, he said he defended seeking top dollar for Washington by arguing it would be almost a selfish move to hurt future quarterbacks who get in a position to have a contract of their own. So basically saying, hey, you know what, I need to set a standard so other quarterbacks can go over it, which, you do have quarterbacks like a Tom Brady who would take less that helps the team out, and because because it is a hard cap. So there can be pressure on quarterbacks or big money guys, especially the quarterbacks, to take a little less. But I don't know if it'll be a quarterback, Ian, because of all the money that they get. They get paid the most. So I wonder if it'll be, a Khalil Mack, a top offensive lineman who that team has to keep, but it's going to be less than the big money quarterbacks if they get guaranteed deals. But under the current system, I don't see it happening unless you're just going to take a 2 or 3 year deal. I think that's the most you could get away with, to have a fully guaranteed deal. And I don't know if players are ready to go down that road.
There are fewer things in baseball more exciting than watching a triple play. They range from the routine 5-4-3 to the 4-6-5-6-5-3-4 triple play, which the boys in the Bronx turned back in 2013. But there's a new contender on the books. 3 of our favorite things are all coming together: National Hot Dog Month, Ballpark Buns, and the Baseball Hall of Fame. Ballpark Buns, America's favorite bun, is celebrating National Hot Dog Month with a Fame On sweepstakes. The lucky winner will get a VIP experience at the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York, plus $3,000 for travel. The VIP experience includes behind-the-scenes and after-hours access to an amazing institution that keeps baseball legends alive. And don't forget to keep your summer rolling with Ballpark. Perfect for grilling, tailgating, parties, and more. Ballpark hot dog and hamburger buns deliver fresh taste and outstanding flavor. With 5 varieties of buns and rolls, make Ballpark Buns part of your next meal and watch the crowd go wild. To enter the Fame On sweepstakes, go to ballparkbuns.com/fameon. Hey, sports fans, if you're heading out to watch the game and need a fill-up, why not join the Fuel Rewards program and earn rewards on Shell Fuel? Members save on their Shell fill-up every day. So sign up free today at fuelrewards.com/ESPN.
For people listening on ESPN Radio, we just showed the clip of Giancarlo Stanton rushing off of the ESPN set, throwing his headset down as Justin Bohr, his teammate, calls the timeout during the Home Run Derby and runs over and feeds him a donut, and the smile and the jubilation and this
awesome.
It came across your face.
It's awesome. Justin Bohr ended up hitting 22 home runs. I thought I didn't think that Judge was going to be able to beat him, but he became my hero at that point. One time I played Greeny in a tennis match. I picked. He got to pick his sport. It was tennis. So I said, I'll beat you in tennis. Now, he did. He did beat me. He beat me 6-4. It was a hot day when we played, and we were at a tennis tournament in, I forgot where it was, but there were some fans there, and in between sets, I drank some of the fans' beer and ate a donut as well. To
play better?
To try. Well, I lost, so, and it turns out it was like 100 degrees, and beer and a donut's a horrible thing. Beer and donut was a bad choice, but in this case, it was a good choice for Bohr to get the donut, wash it down, a little Gatorade, and proceed to hit 22 home runs. Pretty impressive.
That was a great night last night. Thoroughly entertaining. And tonight, the festivities continue, which you'll hear it all as far as the Major League Baseball All-Star Game right here on ESPN Radio. Tomorrow, the SB auction cranks up. The guest list include Adam Schefter, John Gruden, Ernie Johnson, and more. You have an outstanding SB auction item.
Yeah, a lot of great things on it's ebay.com/ESPN. A lot of great experiences that are on there to bid up through like this one will be through our show tomorrow. But Trey Wingo and I and my son Mike will be doing the show together soon, and we're auctioning off a chance to come here, see the show, watch it live, be at ESPN, get the whole tour, get treated like a rock star here, be behind the scenes everywhere. And then afterward, we were going to do a barbecue right here at ESPN, but my son Mike offered up his house for the barbecue. So we're going to head over to my son Mike, who is a single kid living in West Hartford, Connecticut. We're going to go trash his house.
Better than that.
Going to be paper plate, red Solo cups, and we're going to have at it for a barbecue. There will be no raccoon there. I'll say that right now.
And that is something
no raccoon.
For people just tuning in.
Yeah.
One of the best stories of the All-Star Game actually happened off the field where Joey Votto promised a donkey to his teammate Zach Cozart if he made the All-Star Game back in spring training,
right,
because Zach's son loves donkeys. They would go to the zoo, which was near their spring training facility, and his son fell in love with donkeys. So Votto says, hey, you make the All-Star team, I'm going to get your son a donkey. He makes the All-Star team. The donkey will be presented to him at the ballpark back in Cincinnati after the All-Star festivities are all over with. And we were talking in the previous hour about some of the worst bets that we've had to pay up on, and one of mine stemmed from a story when we would have Taquillo Spikes on when I was back at WJOX in Birmingham, Alabama, and it was Easter weekend, and we asked him, what's for Easter dinner? And he said barbecued raccoon.
Yeah.
Every year. 15 years in the NFL, right? And the guy is still
a lot of raccoon.
Barbecued raccoon every Easter. Well, I lost a bet to my co-host Lance Taylor. I had to eat raccoon, and trust me, folks, I can still taste the that metallic iron type thing on my palate.
A lot of people a couple people are jumping on you for that. Merle, which isn't shocking that it would be a Merle possibly doing this.
Stereotypes exist for a reason.
There you go. Merle says, when preparing raccoon, just that first line makes it sound like he is a master chef at preparing raccoon. The lymph glands must be properly removed and meat washed under cold water. Smoked raccoon is delicious. Timothy says, can't let you just badmouth raccoon like that. Clearly it wasn't prepared properly. Raccoon is an underrated delicacy. I'm
guessing my man, the chef, missed a gland.
I'm willing. I'm
guessing.
I'm certainly willing to try raccoon, but we want you to keep your tweets coming in about if you had to pay out. What's the worst bet you ever had to pay off? Mine again was getting my arms and legs waxed. A lot of people think it should have been the Kim Kardashian lookalike photo, but I enjoyed getting oiled up and getting my picture taken nude. I didn't care. That had to be way worse for my wife and my son, no doubt.
I think this is you saying. Nope, that's not it.
That's not
pot roast.
That's a good try, though.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I screamed out pot roast. Yeah,
here it is.
There you go. When I was getting my arms and legs waxed, that hurts. Let me tell you, I did not enjoy that at all, and it lasted way longer than I thought to get all the hair off my arms and my legs. What is
the worst wager you've had to pay up on? Keep those tweets coming in at Mike and Mike at ESPN Radio via the 1-800-Flowers.com, a Twitter feed. First of several coming up, Mayweather-McGregor. The tour begins, and it begins the media tour at the Staples Center in L.A. coming up later on today, the first of 4 press conferences. This will get testy. It will be entertaining. McGregor will talk a lot of noise.
Right.
I don't know what kind of a fight he's going to be able to put up. I don't know if he'll land 10 punches on Floyd Mayweather. But here's the thing. If you're expecting some great fight, then you are going to be disappointed. To me, this is just like Mayweather-Pacquiao. This is a social event. I was not expecting some tremendous boxing match between Mayweather and Pacquiao. It was 5 years too late. But I was willing to plunk down hard-earned money.
Yeah.
All the neighbors came over to the back house. We cranked up all the TVs, and we had a really fun evening with a bunch of friends. The wives all got into it. I mean, it was a social event. To me, Golick, this is exactly what August 26th is between Mayweather and McGregor. I'm not expecting a fight. I'm paying the money to just have a social event and get together with friends and family before I go on the road for football.
I agree. And then you're also paying it for that one in a million chance that McGregor lands that bomb, that knocks Mayweather down, which people have been trying to do to him for, 49 fights, and it hasn't happened. The tour, L.A., Toronto, New York, London, these are stuff we don't have to pay for. So a lot of people saying, well, if this is going to be the best part of the fight, why don't you just watch this stuff and not pay for the fight itself? I agree with you. There's just an air of the possibility of what can happen. You're watching it for the sideshow. I compared it to the end of doing pay-per-view for Tyson. It wasn't the fighter he was anymore, but you were waiting for him, unfortunately for Evander Holyfield, to bite an ear, or to do something wacky on that night. And that's what a lot of people are hoping, that McGregor reverts back to MMA and roundhouse kicks, Mayweather, which won't happen because, he won't jeopardize his money. And this guy, started out as a boxer at 12 years old. I don't think it'll be necessarily competitive either. But now the price is set, $99.95. I figured it'd be $100. I'm going to plunk it down. I have no problem with that. You want to call me an idiot or all of us idiots for doing it? Go ahead. I don't care. It's my money. I can do what I want with it. And I'm hoping to be entertained that night. And these pressers, Conor McGregor is one of the best smack talkers there is out there. He gets it.
He might be the best right now.
He absolutely gets it.
And he'll sell it.
I don't know how much of it is actual selling and how much is actually real out of him, because I don't know the man. I don't know how many screws he has loose in there. But he comes across as a nutcase, so is he really like that? I have no idea. It's hard to think that he's like that all the time, but he knows how to sell it. If a lot of this is an act, then he is great at it. If this is him personally, then, enjoy stepping in the ring of the guy in MMA. Boxing's different because he can only use his fists here. But I'm looking forward to it. I see Mayweather just with some lines. I see Conor as the aggressive, more, There
will be vulgarity. There will be everything.
A lot of that stuff. I'm looking forward to it.
He is going to talk a lot of noise. And then you also have, as a sidebar to the fight and all the press conferences and media tour that they're going to do this week, this story comes down yesterday that Floyd Mayweather Jr. is being summoned by the IRS.
Right.
He owes some serious coin.
Well, he makes serious
to the
coin.
IRS.
So I don't imagine they're going after him for a nickel.
Yeah. So exactly, his attorneys are saying that he will pay the IRS what he owes them after this fight, that he does not have what they want until after this fight is done and he gets paid for this particular bout. Now, Golick, he's made over $700 million.
Yes, he has.
We have seen a lot of athletes blow a lot of cash, from Latrell Sprewell to Allen Iverson on down. But if somehow he has vomited up $700 million large and doesn't have what he owes the IRS, that one, even though we've seen this in the past, that one raises my eyebrow.
I don't believe he did that. I just think
you.
it's some sort of legal thing his team is doing to push it off, and who knows what the cash he has sitting around as opposed to the money somewhere else. I don't think this guy is about money, and I have a feeling he has held on to it pretty darn well. So I think this is more a legal thing. I don't know. A, I'm not a lawyer, and B, I'm not invested in this situation, but it just sounds odd that, hey, dude, you owe some taxes, and we need you to pay it up, and you say, well, I don't really have that right now. Let me look at my wallet here. Yeah, I don't have that. Why don't you hit me up after the fight with McGregor when I got a couple $100 million in my pocket? Then we'll square up.
Tell you what,
it's pretty wild.
Yeah, I got a letter from the IRS right before I went on vacation. And when it says intent to defraud the IRS and you owe this,
you write the check.
There was one 1099 that we missed. We do a bunch of other stuff, and you get 1099. And one didn't get to our accountant, and so we missed one from 2015. Do you have any idea how quickly that check got cut?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was, bam, here you go. My bad, Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
So
you don't want to play around in that sandbox.
No, and he's playing around in the sandbox.
But, again, I think it's some kind of legal thing. Who knows? I'm sure he's got plenty of smart people that are making a heck of a coin off him. So
a lot more than I am. I promise you that. Will today be the most exciting day of Mayweather McGregor?
I don't know if it'll be the most exciting. It'll be one of. They'll have a few of these press conferences. The weigh-in, I think, will be interesting as well when they square off as well. So I think there'll be steps along the way. I would be stunned if they don't come out of the gate strong, because what's the whole idea of this? As I said, on this show, and you haven't heard me say it, I think after this fight is over and after Mayweather beats him, whether he knocks him out or just beats him, I had said that McGregor should walk over to Mayweather's locker room after, and they should, share some champagne and said, "We did it, dude. We did it. We rooked them all. We got the Golicks of the world to plunk down $100, so we're all making hundreds of millions of dollars in this thing to pull it off." So you want to sell. This thing is all about, because the seats will be sold out, right? So now it's all about clicks. It's all about who is calling and ordering pay-per-view. That's what this is about right now, right? I'm sure McGregor thinks he can win this thing. You're as a competitor, you don't go in thinking you can't, but I think he understands the road he has. Mayweather, I'm sure, is very confident he's going to win this thing. So the whole idea, Mayweather, we know he's about money, and McGregor, this is by far and away, I don't think he fights again in MMA after this one.
No, I would.
I think he tries to do different roles in MMA, but I don't think he fights anymore. The most he ever made from a purse was $3 million. Now, it was more than that with pay-per-view. I think it was like 10 or 11 million in that area there. But he's going to be pushing, 50, 75, 100 mil in this one. So they all understand what it's about. So this is about getting clicks right now. So, and I think that he for sure is going to come out, because he doesn't have the money Mayweather has. This is, can you talk about even more padding to the $700 million you're worth of what Mayweather's doing? For McGregor, I mean, this is how many years ago, he was with the welfare checks and stuff. I mean, this is, and he's living pretty well right now, but this is, I'm done money. So,
this is his only big payday.
Yeah,
this is Mayweather's last big payday.
Exactly right. So he is going to be at his smack-talking best for this one to get as many people as they can to click on this and spend their $100.
This presser will be entertaining. Reminder, join Aaron Judge and the rest of the AL Superstars as they take on Buster Posey and the NL Stars, presented by Ballpark Buns. Coverage of the 2017 MLB All-Star Game begins tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern right here on ESPN Radio, ESPNRadio.com, and the ESPN app. Time to get to...
It's time for another edition of Love It.
Oh, this is fun.
Or Shove It. with Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio.
With Mike Golick, I'm Ian Fitzsimmons here on ESPN Radio, ESPN News, and there's our old buddy Bubba.
What's up?
Bubba!
What's going on?
How you doing, man?
Doing good. Looking forward to the weekend. A little South Bend wedding.
Yeah, absolutely.
Checking weather?
Always checking weather.
Yeah, no, I'll see you there. It'll be good.
Excuse me?
Yeah, the wedding, yeah. I'll see you guys
invited,
Saturday.
Bubba?
That should be a lot of fun.
You're going to be there?
Yeah.
How did I not know? Who invited you?
I'm the best man.
You're the best man for my son Jake's wedding.
Yeah. No, yeah, rehearsal dinner will be great. I got a speech prepared. Should be fun.
Okay.
Opening line in the speech is?
You'll have to be there.
I am.
Imagine if Bubba showed up.
Oh my God! I'm literally speechless
Walked
right
on
now.
in.
Open bar, dude.
Yeah, I mean, wearing one of those tuxes from Dumb and Dumber.
Open bar, I think, is what got him
Yeah.
to make him say yes to this. Well, I look forward to that, Bubba, very much.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Orange ruffled tux.
Yeah. Oh my God! Now I'm not going to my own son's wedding. Holy smokes! All right, Bubba, what do you got?
Also, before we get into this, you guys are talking about bets. Why are you guys not talking about the Cowboys bet? You may remember summer 2014, over under 10.5 Cowboys. My dad and I are first class.
But that wasn't. This was about what's the worst bet you had to pay off.
I mean, that was just pretty embarrassing for you.
It was, but I enjoyed sending you and especially your father. And I met your father at the grocery store. And what a lovely man.
Yeah,
which makes me stunned that you're his son and how he's sorely disappointed in that. And he kind of whispered that into my ear right before we left. He said, damn disappointment were the two words that came out of his mouth. Listen, I'm just repeating what I heard. But no, I enjoyed it. I sent he and his father to a Cowboy playoff game. So I enjoyed doing that more for your father than you.
All right.
Whatever.
Right.
I mean, eating raccoon and having your legs and arms waxed are going to be a little bit more harsh than sending Bubba
and his dad to a playoff game, yeah.
All right.
Ask a question, Bubba. Let's go.
Question.
Competing in the Derby will negatively affect Aaron Judge's swing in the second half. Love it or shove it.
I hate to want to think it's going to. I know everybody throws up Bobby Abreu back in 2005.
It's one example.
He had 307, 18 home runs in the first half, 260 and 6 home runs in the second half after winning the Home Run Derby. I don't want to believe that. We're going to have Mark Teixeira on, and he was talking about that a little bit last night because he was asked, will it affect? And he talks about the amount of swings you take like this in a normal batting practice anyway before a game when you're trying to hit some bombs and if this should affect his swing. I don't believe – he doesn't think it will. I don't want it. So I'm going to shove this just because I find it hard to believe that 47 swings of guys that take a lot of swings, and I know, listen, this guy is usually a lot of times swinging and hitting home runs anyway, that this is going to have a negative effect. So I want to shove this.
I'm shoving it also, and I think it was Gary Sanchez that said through an interpreter. I think it was Gary Sanchez. Like, hey, I'm not surprised at what Judge just did. I see it every day in batting practice.
Yeah, right.
So I'm shoving this also. I don't think it will affect him at all.
All right, Bubba.
Bryce Harper says the two top vote getters should draft the All-Stars.
You saw this in the Pro Bowl. It wasn't the current players. They brought former legends, Hall of Famers in, and they would draft teams.
Yeah, right, Michael Irvin.
That's when they went outside of the conferences. And listen, the Pro Bowl in football, they're looking for ways to improve it because it's horrid, right?
It's the worst of all of the four.
Everybody admits that. So baseball is not. I'm like, why mess with it? I like it the way it is. I'm glad there's no meaning in it anymore. So if you want to mix and match the leagues, I don't care either about that. And that's something you could do if you're drafting teams, if you want to mix the leagues. But I'm kind of like, I like it how it is. I would not mess with this thing.
If you're just tuning in, Bryce Harper, also went on to say, how cool would it be for me to be going up against Max Scherzer? So you just draft whomever, and that's something that you don't get to see, teammate versus teammate. But this is one thing that is not broken. It is the best of all the All-Star games. I shove this also. I think that you don't try and fix something that's not broken. Right now, the All-Star game is easily the best of the four.
You would pay more than the $100 they set for the Mayweather-McGregor fight.
Yep.
Love it or shove it.
Yeah, I'd pay $105. Sure. I mean, obviously there's a limit everywhere of how high you would go, and that's kind of what you try and find when you set the price. This is normally the highest price out there, right? I mean, when you're getting to 100. But what was Pacquiao? And it was $100?
It was like $90.
Yeah, it was $99.
Right in that same
so it was the
neighborhood.
same thing. So you knew this was going to be the same thing. Everybody has a limit how high you would go. If you get a group of people and you're going to split it, you go a little higher.
Where you go, right?
So I would probably go higher than this. I don't know what my line would be, but I would go higher than $100. So I would love that.
I'm right there with you. I would too, because we're doing that very thing. We already have it planned.
Right.
We're going heading over to old Jason Price's house, side Price. We're heading to your casa, and that's it. It's about
there you
10
go.
of us that are all getting together. It's a social event, not expecting some big fight. So yeah, I love it. I actually would be that idiot and pay more than $100. It's really going to cost me like 10 to 15.
We're two idiots up here. So there you go, Bubba. What's the next one?
I could have told you that. Lonzo Ball was ducking De'Aaron Fox in the Summer League last night. Love it or shove it.
So Lonzo Ball didn't play last night with a groin situation, and De'Aaron Fox had a little fun with a tweet about that, but then, deleted it. Had his fun, deleted it, and said, listen, nobody's ducking anybody. Remember, De'Aaron Fox has owned Lonzo Ball on the hardwood on college. And a lot of people saying, is he ducking him? I think that's ridiculous. I don't think there's any way that Lonzo Ball or anybody's thinking about ducking anybody. If you get the slightest bit of an injury in the summer league, you sit for a bit. That's just the way it is. So I completely shove that. I say there's no way he's ducking him.
And this comes from how De'Aaron Fox just owned him in the NCAA tournament.
Right.
And so that's where this whole thing stems from, and I'm with you. I'm shoving it. If there's any little thing wrong, especially with the number 2 overall pick, you sit him. It's Summer League. Like you and I were both surprised he played 34 minutes when he got that triple-double in Game 2. So this is one of those deals where it was because it's De'Aaron, right, and what happened in the NCAA tournament, that's why this whole thing came up. I'm not buying it. I'm shoving it.
Bubba, do you have to what's the worst payoff of a bet you've had?
I think I've just won every bet. Yeah, so I don't know.
I can see why your father says what he said about
I just win.
Right,
Carmelo Anthony will be a Nick on opening night.
Oh, my God.
Love it or shove it.
Another one. I should have said that was it. Carmelo Anthony will be a Nick opening night.
Love it. Yes.
You
yes.
think he is?
Just to torment James Dolan.
Do you think
because he has the no trade clause. No, he's not trading me.
Think he finishes the year as a Nick?
Yes, just because I want to see that.
You want to see it? I'm going to say
torment Dolan.
I'm going to shove that. I'm going to say he's going to be gone. I'm going to say they're going to work it out, and he's going to be gone. He's going to be in Houston.
And on a serious note, though, because part of it is I just want to see the torment continue with the Knicks in that whole situation.
Right.
But it's going to be hard to match that max money.
Yes, it is.
That's the one reason why I think it'll be dead. Everyone's talking about the Rockets, and we had Mike D'Antoni on yesterday talking about it. We didn't get him fined. But to make that match is going to be difficult.
Yep, I completely agree. Bubba, we're done.
Got one more here?
No, we're done.
Kirk Cousin.
Field Yates, answer the Kirk Cousins question.
Love it or shove it?
No.
Shoving you.
We're done. Why don't you go interview with Stephen Mills for the GM job at the Knicks? Why don't you go
Already
do something
did that.
like that.
Good one.
All right, goodbye, Bubba.
See you Saturday.
Yeah.
Speaking of Field Yates.
6 schlitzes.
Friday is the rehearsal dinner. That's the open bar and everything else. You got to have your speech ready.
Hey, I give it to Bubba. He caught me off guard on that one. That was pretty good.
Home isn't just a place, it's a feeling. Whether you're at home, your business, or online, ADT helps keep you safe. With security systems, home automation, alarms, and surveillance. So you can feel at home, wherever you are. Go to ADT.com to get that feeling. ADT. Home. Safe home.
Well, Greeny, we're halfway through another baseball season, and we're really seeing some players who stand out as winners.
Kind of like business travelers who win at business by staying at La Quinta Inns and Suites.
That's because you can put your La Quinta Returns loyalty points to work on the spot with instant free nights.
Just drive up with no reservation and instantly redeem points for a free night that same night simply by using the La Quinta app.
It's like hitting a grand slam.
With an app instead of a bat.
Well played.
Prepare to win at business by learning more about instant free nights and check out the summer rates at LQ.com.
A lot of baseball, obviously, this morning. Golick, let's get it now. Let's switch gears, talk some football. As ESPN NFL insider Field Yates joins us in studio, giving us that Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts. With Mike Golick, I'm Ian Fitzsimmons. You're on ESPN Radio, ESPN News. Field, always good to see you.
Good to see you guys.
First, tag deadline.
Yes.
Let's begin. Quarterback, Kirk Cousins. He's set to make short of $24 million. The time frame for an extension ends on July 15th. What do you think happens here with the quarterback for Washington?
I don't think they get a deal done between the two sides. And let me be clear in saying this. There are basically two parties involved that have any idea of what's really going to happen. It's the team and the player, whether we're talking about Kirk Cousins, Le'Veon Bell, or even Trumaine Johnson. So, and their opinion or their sort of sentiment on the matter could change dramatically as we get closer to that deadline. Kirk Cousins could say, listen, it's 5 hours until the deadline's up, and even though I'm not entirely comfortable with the offer, the idea of $45 million guaranteed versus the $24 million guaranteed, let's just take it. So we'll see what happens. But I would say that people around the NFL certainly view it as a bona fide long shot at best if this deal gets done. Kirk Cousins has plenty of leverage. If he plays out this year and just plays not great, but above average,
right? Yeah.
Of course someone's going to come calling next year, or Washington might say, all right, well, we're still going to tag you for a third and final time. And if they use that franchise tag, that's $44 million guaranteed for Kirk Cousins if he signs that tender. So I think he's in a pretty good spot right now to get paid one way or another.
Yeah, I don't think the long-term deal's coming now. I think he's going to play in the tag again. The next year is going to play out. How about Le'Veon Bell?
Le'Veon Bell, I wouldn't be surprised if a deal got done, only because it's clear the interest is mutual in getting a long-term deal done. This is an organization in the Steelers that has a draft, develop, and reinvest philosophy. I mean, this dates decades back, and it's not like they haven't used that same approach of late. It's not just Ben Roethlisberger, it's not just Antonio Brown. It's guys like David DeCastro on the offensive line, other players along the defensive side of the ball that will eventually get paid as well. I think the issue here is this, is the franchise tag value for Le'Veon Bell is $12.12 million for this season. Now, teams don't view that always as that's what we want to pay you every year.
Right.
That's just what we're willing to pay you to keep you around for this year. Well, players say, no, I want that value every year. Well, that may not be realistic given the fact that LaShawn McCoy currently tops the running back market at $8 million per season. So you're not just talking about a bump for Le'Veon Bell. You're talking about 5 or 6 bumps up from that top of the market deal. Maybe something closer to $10 million makes sense. The team also has to protect itself a little bit given this is a player who plays running back, has one major knee injury in his past, is coming off of a core/groin issue from the AFC Championship game, and also has been suspended multiple times. And we know in the NFL, these things pile up. The more you get suspended, it can be more significant in terms of length.
When you look at Le'Veon Bell, I think he's the best running back in the National Football League.
I think him and David Johnson are the two guys of the NFL of today of running the ball and catching the ball in the backfield. Yeah.
So to your point about $12 million is a heck of a lot more than what McCoy is making at $8. If you are in that Steelers negotiation, how would you try and structure this long-term deal to make sure player is happy and organization is happy?
Well, the Steelers have very clear, defined rules when it comes to the way that they structure contracts, and specifically, they don't guarantee base salary year to year. They just do things such as roster bonuses, signing bonuses, etc. So their structure is going to be pretty clear, and the precedent has been set. Again, it comes down to really it's the average annual value, and it's probably the guaranteed money. And maybe they're comfortable completely blowing the current running back market to smithereens and saying, hey, $12 million per season, that's the new going rate, which would make David Johnson very happy as he's due, or at least eligible for an extension starting next off season. Guys like Zeke Elliott, who 2 years from now, I know it sounds crazy, he's just a rookie, but he's also getting closer and closer to becoming extension eligible. Devontae Freeman wants to get paid. I think if the Steelers can make Le'Veon Bell the highest paid running back in football, which isn't particularly difficult, that's at least a starting point. There's some goodwill incurred there. But Le'Veon Bell's most recent comments make me feel like, something, if he plays on the franchise tag, he's not entirely concerned about that preventing him getting a long-term deal eventually, whether it's with Pittsburgh or somewhere else, because you guys are right. I mean, if the running back conversation, the best running back conversation starts with anybody but Le'Veon Bell, he's not far behind. He's 2, 3 at worst, but I can't imagine anybody's top 2 doesn't include Le'Veon Bell.
So whenever we talk about NFL contracts, we talk about how much of the contract is going to be guaranteed. That's become the monster talk out of here with all the NBA money going around. Not so much to, obviously, the stars, unless you compare them to the Tom Brady's or Aaron Rodgers of the world, but the other players as well. So I've tried to do my simple math here on why it just isn't going to work in the current structure we're in. When NFL players say we should be paid more, we should have guaranteed contracts, go down that road a little bit. And can it work? If it can work, how can it work? Or is this a pipe dream?
It's a pipe dream, at least specific to the fully guaranteed contract. And really the bottom line is this. It's a mechanism that can't be undone. I mean, once the institution of non-fully guaranteed contracts was in the hands of NFL owners, what would you how could you possibly imagine them relenting on that at any point in a future CBA negotiation? Here's the problem: is you want to say, well, players are going to sit out. The reality is that, and certainly, Mike, you know this, 53 guys in a roster. A lot of these guys, the span of their NFL career is a season, 2 seasons, maybe 3 seasons. Not everybody is Tom Brady and Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers that's going to be able to play for 15 years in the NFL and make hundreds of millions of dollars. It sounds good in theory that players could just sit out a couple of games and all of a sudden owners could change their thinking on fully guaranteed deals or other things that players want to have rectified in the CBA. A lot harder when you think about the idea of potentially up to 1,000 or more players sitting out, risking their livelihood, giving up paychecks for the better good, which is noble, but it's just hard to do. It's hard for them to actually do when push comes to shove.
Can it happen, though, with the hard cap the way it is and these 5-6 year contracts to be guaranteed? Or could you do it now by saying, okay, you want guaranteed? Ndamukong Suh, the first 3 years of his deal were guaranteed for $60 million. Could he have gone in and say, listen, I want a 3-year deal, guarantee me the $60 million, and got that? Could that be a possibility? And would players want to do a 2 or 3 year contract guarantee?
I was going to say, sure, it's possible. But again, I think the players would say, something, I'd much rather include the upside of 6 years and 114, or I think it was $114.5 million for Ndamukong Suh.
No, I'm getting the 60 anyway.
Exactly. I'm getting the 60 anyways. I might as well have, think about it. He's going to be probably somewhere around 31 or so after this season. I think he was class of 2010 NFL draft, maybe 30 or so years old. I just think you're more likely to be productive from the age of 28 to 30 than you are from 30 to 32.
So, which leads me to, we keep talking about quarterbacks. Sorry, Ian, to keep.
No, go ahead.
A guy like Khalil Mack.
Yep.
Khalil Mack's a young player. So when he comes up, would it behoove him, because he's got, some years in his prime, give me a 3-year deal for $60 million guaranteed. Play that 3 years, plays it well, and he can do it again instead of the 6-year 114 where those last 3 years you're not really sure what's going to happen.
I understand the thought. I would say sometimes, and I think this does not just apply to football contracts, but resistance to change is lack of precedent before it, right? I mean, just because no one else has done it, that might make players a little bit more reticent to say, something, I'm going to be the first. Blazing a trail can be hard. Mm-hmm. Khalil Mack, unquestionably, is, let's just call it what it is. Even if the Raiders use the franchise tag on him after his 5th-year option. So that's 3 years out. Right. He's still going to be 27 years old. Probably still have at least 3 more good years in his prime. And maybe he could say, I'm going to be the guy that does the 3-year deal. I just think that until it sort of takes one guy to get the ball rolling, and I can't think of a clear-cut example of where a player is going to be willing to say, something, I'm going to be that guy.
I'm going to be that guy.
Could you imagine the first owner that would give a player like Kirk Cousins, 5 years, $100 million, fully guaranteed? How the other 31 owners would view that guy? I'm sure that might get a little nasty at the owners' meetings. Somebody's picking up the tab.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander type thing, right? So I think these NFL owners understand that you're right. It's not just the players who will be taking a risk and becoming the first of something. It's also the owners who would have to answer to 31 other ownership groups and say, here's why I'm doing this.
Okay, keep your eyes closed.
Okay.
I want to show you my first ever painting.
All right.
Okay. Open your eyes.
Oh, that's a lot of colors and shapes.
So be honest. What do you think?
Well, I like how if you switch to Geico, you could save hundreds of dollars on car insurance.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Here, why don't I hold your paintbrush while you call them?
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
With Mike Golick, I'm Ian Fitzsimmons here on Mike and Mike, ESPN Radio, ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. And all guests like Mark Teixeira and Joe Buck coming up in the final hour of the program will be here on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Speaking of losing bets to Twitter, always tweet us at Mike and Mike. Rick writes in, I lost in mini golf to my wife and boasting I would win. Speaking of tattoos, for people who are just tuning in ESPN Radio, he had to get a tattoo of her lips on his rear end.
For losing in mini golf, again, we're talking about what's the worst bet you ever had to pay off. You lost in mini. Well, I that's your own fault for making that bet. Who goes to mini golf and says, if I lose, I'm going to get some permanent ink on my body.
Like, if I'm doing anything, a bet of consequence, it's got to be something that's like, hey, over a 6 month, like a fantasy football season or something that takes a lot longer than like 20 minutes.
You do the fantasy.
No, I wouldn't.
You get in a league where if you lost, you had to get.
No.
And not only you get to choose other people choose the tattoo you get put on your body.
Yes. And most of those leagues, that's exactly what happens.
No, I mean, there is just no way I could do that.
And it's normally in a very visible
spot.
It
is.
Shoulder or, zero chance.
Why would your wife even want her, like a tattoo of her lips on your rear? That just seems.
Say something, but I'm not going to.
Smart.
Move on.
Hurry,
right here.
Good move.
Go to ESPN
good
Radio
professional
and
move.
ESPN News. It's the only one I'll make today. NFL Insiders, you guys came up with a 3-year projection and the bet where the NFL franchises, which teams are projected to be the best. Number one, no surprise, is the New England Patriots.
Right.
And I'm assuming you guys are factoring in that Brady is going to be there over the next 3 seasons. You worked in that organization.
Yeah.
What is it like inside those walls?
It's like a machine. It's like a factory. It's, I think people always ask, what's the one thing that makes the Patriots different? It's hard to say there's just one thing, but I would say that having unified vision and one voice helps in a significant way. The NFL is a constant, mechanism of turnover, right? However, the Patriots, for going on 20 years now, have basically had the same purpose and same idea and basically done it the same way. I mean, it's been obviously a couple of the same faces in Belichick and Brady, which have unquestionably played a major role in it. But yes, they have evolved, but it's a lot of them doing the same things well that they've done well for the past 2 decades. The offense is basically the same, by the way. Certainly the cast of characters has turned over absent of Brady, but it has been a lot of the same things for close to 2 decades, which is remarkable in a league where things turn over in about 2 years.
So before we get to this list, and I see some things in this list that are streamlined, and I want to get into. One more on the Patriots. How do you see the Brady-Garoppolo thing playing out? I have my thoughts on that. If Garoppolo can be a free agent next year and they're hanging on to him, many people think they're going to move Brady and Garoppolo is going to be the quarterback of the Patriots, and I laugh at that.
Right.
Am I wrong to laugh at that?
Absolutely not wrong. Yeah. I mean, I just can't imagine a scenario where Tom Brady does not play out at least the expiration of his current contract, which, as Fitz mentioned earlier, it's 3 more years. So he's got 3 more years under contract on his current deal. With Garoppolo, I know people want, there's a desire for this immediate answer. Yes, as of next year, he is a free agent. Could the team try to extend him before that? You might say that's nuts. The answer is, it's not that nuts. If you could find a way that would sort of be good for both sides, and something that's been speculated upon by our own Mike Reese is, hey, would a 1-year extension for Garoppolo actually be good? The upside for him, and it's about the franchise tag value. So let's call it $20+ million
to be a backup,
right? So for Garoppolo, you get your money sooner, and for the Patriots, you can split that money over 2 years. And then potentially have him, again, 1 more year of contract control. Maybe you want to trade him. Maybe you want to keep him for 1 more year and see if Tom Brady eventually comes down to earth. I just don't think that Tom Brady is not with the Patriots for at least 3 more seasons.
Couldn't agree more. And the concept I wanted to get to here, Ian and Field, is so I see the top 10, and this is for the next 3 years.
Next 3 years, yep.
Top 10, Patriots, Seahawks, Falcons, Packers, Steelers, Cowboys, Raiders, Chiefs, Titans, Buccaneers. Here's the one thing out of 9 of the 10 that I see as being the constant, and it would be the Patriots because it's an older one, the Falcons, the Packers, the Steelers. You see the quarterbacks there, Matt Ryan, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Ben Roethlisberger, they're all 3 of those years.
Yep.
The rest of them, younger, Seahawks, Russell Wilson, absolutely. Dak Prescott, absolutely. Derek Carr, yes. Marcus Mariota at 9, yes. And Jameis Winston, yes. Yep. The only one where there isn't the constant is number 8 in the Chiefs, right?
Yes.
I would imagine everybody thinks that during that 3 years there is going to be the shift, and that's the reason why Andy Reid drafted the kid out of Texas
Mahomes.
Tech, Mahomes out of Texas Tech, that eventually he's going to take over for Alex Smith.
It's a matter of when, not if, with Patrick Mahomes taking over for Alex Smith. Smith has 2 more years left on his contract, but next year, as we build off that guaranteed contract conversation from earlier, there is not guaranteed money. So if the Chiefs want to cut the cord and say all of a sudden we are making this the Patrick Mahomes era, it can begin as soon as 2018. I can't imagine it starts this year just because Alex Smith helped this team win 12 games
and
last
this team
year.
is going to be in it.
They're going to be in it. So I think that sometimes, listen, in some ways, all teams that we are evaluating, there's a faith-based portion of it, right? Even the Patriots, you're putting your faith in certain things they do well. So for the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes is, hey, it's not just that you saw something from him in college, because we did see at least some fun games out of Texas Tech, but also that you trust that Andy Reid is an outstanding quarterback tutor, and that if anybody can make this young piece of clay quarterback into a developed starter, it's probably Andy Reid.
And you can check out the entire list and their reasons why and behind it on the NFL page on ESPN.com. Subscribe to be an insider if you aren't. You going on the yacht today?
I think I'm going on the yacht. I was trying to play on the golf course, but I walked out of the hotel this morning. It was like Niagara Falls.
Downpour.
Yeah. What's going on?
Because then if it rains and then stops raining, when you go to the golf course, you have to keep the golf cart on the path. I don't play
I'm
that
not doing
way.
that.
Not a chance that happens.
I'm all over it. Field, thanks for being here, man.
Thanks, guys.